You know that feeling when everything just clicks? Your mind is sharp, your mood is steady, your body feels like it's firing on all cylinders. That's not luck, that's what your body is capable of every single day. Now, I've looked into a lot of fish oil supplements, and honestly, most of them are mystery-sourced, over-processed, blasted with heat, and packed with synthetic add-ins. But this one is different. Omega-3 Rejuvenate from Big Bold Health starts with wild Alaskan salmon and cod, sustainably caught from some of the cleanest waters on the planet, and then it's processed at low temperatures to preserve what actually matters. We're talking about real omega-3s, naturally occurring vitamins A and D, and pro-resolving mediators, or PRMs, that help your body balance its own immune response. What does that mean for you? Clearer thinking, more stable mood, and real nature-based support for your heart and immune system. No shortcuts, no synthetic nonsense. And it was developed by Dr. Jeffrey Bland, a true pioneer in the world of complementary health. If you want to feel the difference, go to bigboldhealth.com/Hoffman. That's bigboldhealth.com/Hoffman and use code Hoffman for 20% off site-wide. Once you feel it, you'll know. Welcome to today's Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ronald Hoffman. This is our weekly opportunity to answer your questions, and indeed, we will get to questions this hour. We have several questions in our email box, and let's tackle some of those questions.
Okay, we've got an email from Niraj. Niraj is from India. He's 32. He says, I just finished reading your book on mitral valve prolapse. I'm impressed by your detailed assessment of the problem and assigning the solution in a way we can understand. Feeling very much grateful that we have people like you who are concerned about this peculiar topic.
Well, first of all, it's really gratifying to me that we have followers, listeners in all over the world and in India.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the outreach of this medium. And also, I'm gratified that he read my book, which actually I wrote a long time ago. I think I wrote it in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that book has legs. That book has been around. And of all my books, it seems it's a little
very
book.
valuable.
It has resonated with so many people.
Yeah, true.
Because mitral valve prolapse, which to define it, it's a cardiovascular anomaly, but actually it's sort of a variation on
It's
normal.
like a phenomenon.
It's a phenomenon where some people have a mitral valve, which is one of the valves of the heart, which is misshapen in a way it kind of billows out.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about it is the insight in the book is that is not just a mechanical issue in the heart, that it is actually a signature for often a wide variety of autonomic problems that people experience.
Yeah.
And so it is actually, I think what it does is help people kind of contextualize their very uncomfortable experiences and sensations as physiologic and not a sign that they're going nuts.
Yeah.
And that it's part and parcel of their bodily, which we call it visceral hypersensitivity, is
Yes.
their visceral awareness.
Yes,
They're more attuned.
We startle easily and all
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I had mitral valve prolapse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's also makes you, I
Yeah.
think, more empathic and
That's
sensitive.
what's said. Yeah. I
yeah.
thought it was because I was a musician, but I think
No, it really creates, I mean, you are very attuned to both internal and external cues.
Yeah.
And your feelings are almost
I
amplified.
think I have a lot
Yeah.
of receptors for feelings.
Yeah.
It could be.
You know that song,
Anyway.
Feelings?
Yes.
You know, the song?
Johnny Mathis? Yeah. Okay. So Niraj says, I was diagnosed around 2011 with grade 1 MVP.
Okay, so first of all, grade 1 means no big whoop.
I never
means-
knew it came in grades.
Well, I guess there's a classification system. I presume that goes up to grade 4. That's usually the case. So grade 4 is actually more of a concern because it's actually can cause problems with blood flow and may have to be operated on.
Okay.
So
Get a new valve.
yeah, but grade 1 is like no big whoop.
Yeah.
But it can be associated
Yeah.
with autonomic symptoms.
Yeah. So Niraj's doctor prescribed metoprolol,
The beta blocker.
a beta blocker for anxiety.
That's actually kind of appropriate because
Yeah.
it puts
People complain of anxiety
it puts
with
the
MVP.
kibosh on your sympathetic nervous system. It blunts a little bit.
Yeah.
People use it sometimes for speaker's anxiety.
Yes. right? Stage fright and stuff. I have had panic attacks in the past, though in the last couple of years, I made certain lifestyle changes and diet. It's greatly reduced the panic episodes, but I'm finding it hard to shut down the feelings of depression.
Oh.
I also read some new information about MVP on the internet recently, which is worrisome. He doesn't talk about what he found on the internet.
Right.
That's worrisome.
Yeah.
I'd like to know your take on this, sir. It would be extremely helpful if you could share your valuable feedback.
Okay. Well, so I don't know his particular circumstances, and I don't know, often anxiety and depression are associated, and sometimes they can be circumstantial. They can be related to upbringing or trauma. They can be related to current circumstances.
Yeah.
But they can also be related to, any number of biochemical factors, nutrition, nutrient deficiencies. I would recommend things like, and he's read the book, so I would recommend, as I did in the book, coenzyme Q10 and ubiquinol and magnesium. Magnesium. Very important.
Magnesium will be life-altering for you.
So, I think what I would tend to do is stop on that grade. I mean, you had me at grade 1. Grade 1 doesn't worry me.
Yeah.
I can reassure you that grade 1 isn't, that the sensations you're experiencing, which is almost like,
he's 32 years old.
Seem like life-threatening sensations.
Yeah.
They are merely the, that they feel, if you feel like you're dying, but you're not dying.
But you're not dying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the message.
Hard to convince you of that when you're in the thick of it.
I know, right. But he doesn't, he says he's made the changes and he feels better. And, I think graded exercise and certainly yoga is helpful.
Sure. Sure.
Maybe
less of a vegetarian diet, Niraj, if I'm presuming you may be more vegetarian.
They still have yoga studios in India, or is that like passe? There's probably more.
No.
There's probably more yoga studios in Soho than there are in the entire country of India.
Maybe. But yoga is so valuable. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I think it's part of the tradition that they maintain it.
Right.
But here's what I would say is, and if he were sitting across from me, I'd say, you're going to have these sensations possibly for your entire lifetime. Mm-hmm. And it's a matter of you developing strategies to cope with that because it's in your makeup. It's in your, your autonomic nervous system is a little bit of it's
a little trippy.
Bellwether. It's easily tripped.
Yeah.
And it's going to be influenced by, blood sugar. It's going to be influenced by external events. It's going to be influenced by, emotions.
Yes.
And this is part of your learning experience. As a relatively young adult, and it's like there can be a lot of progress towards coping with that. I think we're all endowed with primitive impulses that have helped us to survive through the millions of years of human evolution that we have inherited from the animal world that may be maladaptive in modern life.
True.
And we have to, if we're going to successfully navigate this challenging environment that we're in, learn ways continually, learn, grow, adapt, sometimes crash and burn and, learn from it.
And then get back up.
Yeah. And, in people with that trait, it is a learning and a process and an evolution process.
That's true.
I think you've developed coping strategies for that, which were maybe you were more prey to these sensations when you were an adolescent or a teenager.
When I was 17, 18, that's when it was discovered and so forth. And there was all this thing about Candida in my life. Changed my life.
Oh, wow.
The Candida died because I also think it restabilized my blood sugar, which was tripping the MVP and the autonomic nervous system response.
Right.
All kinds of things I learned. Amazing.
And that's why people like the book, because it gives them a locus of control over what seems like an out-of-control situation.
Yeah.
It gives them practices and pragmatic solutions. The book is still, I think, in print. You can still get it. It's
yeah. And I remember back in the day when I was in the 1980s, I was told I had it, and then in the 1990s, I told I didn't have it, and then the 2000s they said, "Oh, it's just mild."
Which that's a good sign. It means it's subtle.
Yeah.
And it's almost undetectable. And by the way, it can improve.
Really?
Yeah, it can improve with physical conditioning of various kinds, and perhaps there's dietary components, and maybe even magnesium. There's some, but it won't go away.
No, it's a misshapen valve, and that's that kind of thing. It'll glug glug something.
Right. So, all right, good point at which to pause because we will allow
Yes.
one of our sponsors an opportunity to share an important message with you. So here goes. Listen up. Ever walk into a room and forget why you're there? Lose your train of thought mid-sentence? Feel like your brain is running on fumes by 2 in the afternoon? Try Kyolic Specialty Series Smart Mushrooms Plus. This isn't caffeine. It's not some jittery stimulant that crashes you an hour later. This is a clean, science-backed formula built around certified organic lion's mane mushrooms, clinically shown to support the nerve growth factor that actually helps your brain maintain and organize neurons. We're talking real foundational support for focus and mental clarity, and it doesn't stop there. It's combined with Kyolic Aged Garlic Extract, aged up to 20 months on organic California farms, plus Aronia Berry Extract, selenium, and vitamin B12 for long-term brain health and executive function. 2 capsules with a meal, once a day, vegan, non-GMO, no gluten, no dairy, no artificial anything. Kyolic Smart Mushrooms Plus from Wakanaga. Learn more about this and the entire Kyolic Mushrooms Plus line at kyolic.com. That's KYOLIC.com. Look for Kyolic at natural health stores nationwide and online. Thanks very much for listening, and we appreciate that you take the time to listen to these occasional interruptions and support our sponsors, because they're what make Intelligent Medicine a continuing free resource to you. And now back to our questions.
From our good friend Michael. Hi, Dr. Hoffman and Leyla. Just in case you didn't read the outstanding and detailed article in the January 19th issue of the New York Times regarding how Singulair, an old asthma drug, has been shown to create all kinds of mental maladies, including suicide, despair. The article describes how the FDA was lax in enforcing and adequately informing medical doctors about the dangerous side effects of the drug, which is still being prescribed and taken by
here's the thing.
millions.
Here's the thing. There's nothing new about these reports. Yeah. And I think that Times article was kind of lurid, frankly, but that's journalism for you. There's a negative bias in journalism. Mm-hmm. There's nothing new about drugs that have been on the market for a long time turning out to have pretty bad side effects. Mm-hmm. They only emerge after millions and millions of people take them, because the studies on which their approval is based look at a few thousand people and generally pretty healthy people.
True.
Because there are a lot of exclusion criteria, like you can't be this, you can't be that, you can't be elderly, you can't be very young, it's like, okay. And then a bunch of people take it. Okay. So this is what's called post-marketing studies. Mm-hmm. And what they found, Singulair is kind of interesting as an allergy or asthma medication.
Yes. Because
it blocks certain leukotrienes, which are sort of pro-inflammatory leukotrienes. And that's a mechanism in allergic reactions.
Yeah.
However, the icosanoid pathways in the body and the leukotriene pathways in the body are complex and manifold. Mm-hmm. And so suppressing one may adversely, inadvertently affect another. And this is what's called a off-target effect, or sometimes fancy word, a pleiotropic effect of a drug. It has a multiplicity of effects in parts of the body where you didn't intend it to have an effect. Mm-hmm. Some of them are beneficial. Some are adverse. And the brain is vulnerable to these effects. And for some people, they can develop depression and even suicidal ideation while on these medications. Now, is the medication culpable for that? It may be to a greater or lesser extent. Some people may be vulnerable genetically or may be vulnerable psychologically.
Yeah.
We don't know. But for example, we had a guy come in, I think he's coming back tomorrow, who was feeling really crappy, and he had a lot of allergies.
Yes.
And he was on a lot of medications, and one of them was Singulair. And I said, we're going to try some things, diet change. You really need a diet change. You're going to do a bunch of things. Found out he had celiac, by the way, this guy.
Yes.
And so
he is coming back tomorrow.
So I said, you're going to feel better when you get off gluten, for sure. And maybe because you get off gluten, you won't need the Singulair anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, if you can, try and get off that. And he just jumped off that. He jumped off a little sooner than I would have liked. But he didn't really notice that his asthma symptoms came roaring back. And he's feeling better. Now, he may be feeling better because of the diet, or maybe feeling better because of the other supplements. Or
he really embraced the whole program.
Yeah, but is it because he got off the Singulair? Because maybe it was weighing on him mentally. Because he really felt like, he was certain like, oh, this is, my life is
and he's a young
crap.
man.
Yeah. So, and he has brightened up considerably. So, is it about the Singulair? I don't know. But I think doctors are kind of upset at the times for like poisoning the well about a drug that might provide relief to some people.
Yeah.
Because it is like a small percentage of people who have these adverse effects. And, it's kind of like a muckraking kind of journalistic style where they say, it was like...
Yeah, they can tend to do that.
But guess
what?
This is rife within the pharmaceutical industry. It's like drugs get introduced.
Yeah.
They weren't adequately tested. They were oversold on benefits, and without, we just illustrated that with the vaccine rush to judgment, and I think that's why people distrust the pharmaceutical industry. So like when this doctor, I keep coming back to this, it's like, I can't understand why these people are so resistant. Like, you better have some more humility, doc, because you can't understand why people don't listen to medical authorities and,
honestly,
to the health establishment.
She must belong to the Society for Good Thinking. I know they're based in the UK.
The Society for Good Thinking.
Who came against King Charles for hiring a homeopathic doctor?
I think we're saying,
instead of
their job is to eradicate misinformation.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I understand.
Woo! Right out of 1984.
And I had her on my program. She wrote a pretty decent book, When Doctors Do Harm, where she actually kind of looks at instances where, medical, medicine goes awry. So she's aware of that. Yeah. But, I think it's too much... go along to get along.
True. Oh, my goodness. So, Michael, thank you very, very much for that very thoughtful article and link and everything. Speaking of vaccine, Dr. Hoffman. Hi, Dr. Hoffman. I'm a healthy 65-year-old woman. My husband is a healthy 68-year-old. We both exercise. We eat cleanly. We've been listening to you for over 20 years. What are your thoughts on the Shingrix vaccine? We're both a bit fearful of vaccines lately.
Yeah.
I often wonder if taking 2 boosters of the COVID-19 vaccine caused me to have or exacerbated a mild case of rheumatoid arthritis in my hands, just slightly painful, and stiff mostly at night.
It's hard.
No swelling or redness.
It's hard to say. I actually read some accounts of people who've had we had actually a patient, I think, whose arthritis flared after the vaccine because it is immune stimulant.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
It's the same immune system that...
Yeah. It's possible. So, if you have an overexuberant immune system, which is causing your joints to be attacked, and you stoke that immune system, it's possible that can make things worse. But that being said, I think that I'm sort of like agnostic about the Shingrix vaccine. I think because a lot of people are pretty unhealthy and they're going to get bad shingles and they're frail, that they need the protection against shingles, because shingles is awful and it's very painful and can be very debilitating, and you can get post-herpetic neuralgia, which
may be the worst part of it, because that could last for years.
It's so devastating and causes depression and can shorten a person's life. So I would say, if you want that added protection, you could get some added protection because it is pretty effective. Is it necessary? Yes, in some instances. I'm kind of wishy-washy about it, but the evidence I'm wishy-washy is that I haven't taken it and I'm eligible for it. I'm over 65. It's being recommended. Maybe I'm in a fool's paradise. I have this false aura of invulnerability. I know I'm not invulnerable, but I consider myself pretty healthy. And so, I would rather not. The other thing about the Shingrix vaccine is I know from people who've taken it that it knocks you out. It can be kind of debilitating.
Okay. lot of people have.
I mean, just for temporarily.
People will get the flu shots, and then I got the flu, and it really knocked me out, or something like that.
Well,
that
you can feel under the weather from the flu shot, or you can.
Yeah.
Some people claim that they got it, and then fairly shortly thereafter they got the flu.
Yeah.
It didn't cause the flu, but it didn't protect them.
No, and then other people, they absolutely swear by it.
Yeah.
And get it every year, like
So,
scheduled.
I mean, I just want to, and I'm not doing this to appease the medical behemoths, to say, oh, I'm selectively critical of the COVID effort, but I'm not anti-vaccine. I really am not. I think it's a shame that people are dissuaded from taking kind of reasonable things like the measles vaccine.
Yeah.
Although, I had the measles before the measles vaccine.
Me too.
And I remember, being covered with spots, and that's what, you just say, oh, you got the measles,
Measles, chickenpox, mumps.
Right.
I remember them clearly. Measles, I don't.
The
I was too
problem
little.
with chickenpox is that's what sets the stage for shingles.
Yes.
And we all had it probably.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That can create likelihood of that virus resurfacing.
Okay. Lisa, thank you for that question. Best of health to you and your husband. All right. Oh, here's something interesting. This is from Dan. I am 91 and in pretty good health. No meds. I have had essential tremor for probably 20 years. Mother had it bad also for 20 years before passing at age 94. In the last 5 to 6 years when walking, I'm experiencing unsteadiness, imbalance, a strong tendency to wander, stagger, and in general usually find it difficult to walk a nice straight line.
Right.
Question, can these symptoms be attributable to the essential tremor? And if so, what can be done, if anything, to
They
address
can
them?
be related, but the essential tremor is usually just like localized. But it can also involve, I've seen it involve the hands, but also sometimes some head bobbing. And
Katharine Hepburn comes to mind.
with
the head bobbing.
Right.
When
And
Henry, at the time.
we have a couple patients with that, and that's a benign thing which doesn't evolve into a generalized neurological disease like Parkinson's. Tremor is associated with Parkinson's, but benign tremor isn't always, it's not necessarily a predecessor or a harbinger of Parkinson's. But
And he's 91.
You should see a neurologist, but unfortunately, that is sort of the lot of folks 91, because the balance centers deteriorate and proprioception deteriorates, and nerve to muscle transmission deteriorates.
Yeah.
And, so one has to prehab against that and work against that and do a lot of balance work, because it just, that's kind of like the electrical system of the body. It does not, have much resiliency to aging.
I think Dan would benefit from Tai Chi.
Definitely Tai Chi.
Very balance oriented.
We could probably get a neurological workup and the neurologist may just conclude that this is simply age related.
Yeah.
Or it may be a disorder. It may be a disorder. But rather than ask me, he should see a neurologist.
Yes. He's at 91 and on no meds, which is fantastic.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So,
and a
Dan,
listener to Intelligent Medicines.
Yes, right. Dan, best of luck to you. All
Intelligent Medicine has a healthy user effect.
Right.
If you listen, all you have to do, you don't have to do anything. Just listen.
Just listen.
And you will have better health.
You'll have better health.
It's called the healthy user effect. So we can do a study of non-listeners to Intelligent Medicine and listeners to Intelligent Medicine. I guarantee you that in almost every category, longevity, cardiovascular, cancer, anything, there's going to be a healthy user.
Absolutely. There we go. We have an email from Nancy. Leyla mentioned in a podcast that kidney stones could be controlled, or we could not get them by probiotics. Is there a specific one?
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
What kind of heresy are you putting out there?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
kidney stones.
That is so irresponsible of you, Leyla, to say that.
It really, yes. Is there a specific one we should take? I listened to Dr. Davis' podcast when you interviewed him. Very interesting about all the different probiotics. Nancy, what I said was kidney stones can happen from a lack of a beneficial bacteria called Oxalobacter formigenes. Let's call it O formigenes from now on. That can be propagated by getting some beneficial probiotics of the lactobacillus species, of the bifidobacteria species. All of these can help your microbiome repopulate with enough Oxalobacter formigenes, which helps in the metabolism of oxalates in the diet so that you don't have the formation of kidney stones. That's basically the gist of what I talked about. I even wrote an article about that in the newsletter, which I've reprised recently because of this particular question. But if you already have kidney stones, what you want to do is take some citrate, whether it's in the form of citric acid and some lemon juice, lemon water, or magnesium citrate.
Magnesium's good too.
Magnesium citrate.
For most kidney stones. Yeah.
Yes, for most kidney stones, which are, most of them, over 60% of them, are the calcium oxalate stones, much more common than the uric acid stones. So that's really what we're talking about. You need a well-populated microbiome so that you have enough O formigenes to help you metabolize the oxalates in your food.
And I wish it was just a matter of you taking Oxalobacter formigenes. I think there are studies on that, and they're trying to actually, maybe develop it into a product. But to encourage the development of a helpful species, it's not necessarily the case that just taking the species is that creating a healthy microbiome enables that species to grow,
propagate,
and maybe even taking other probiotics may create an environment where that prospers. I think more research needs to be done on that. But I actually remember looking this up a few months ago, and in India, you used to be able to buy Oxalobacter.
Wow.
Formigenes, which you can't, for regulatory reasons, get in the United States. However, I don't see it listed anymore, and maybe it's not on the market anymore. But, I'm pretty sure that there are biotech companies that are looking at this possibility because it could be developed into a patentable drug. Is a probiotic that prevents kidney stones would be. But they would probably want to sell it as a FDA-approved therapy, because they have two routes to go. One, they can go right to the health food stores, with less rigorous approval, or they can go through the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 studies, that cost a lot of money, and then pay to play with the FDA for approval, where they granted an FDA indication for it. You didn't say that, did you?
I didn't say kidney stones can be prevented. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, but for people who are worried about it, make sure you're eating a very varied diet full of probiotics, full of prebiotics, the foods that are also prebiotics and probiotics. You could take a probiotic supplement, but will that guarantee you will never have a kidney stone? No. You also want to make sure you're well hydrated. There's more incidence, more prevalence of kidney stones in the warmer weather. In the summertime, when people are dehydrated, they're not drinking enough water, you need to also hydrate properly. So there you go, Nancy. And thank you for that. Okay.
If we have time for one more question, I think we're trying to squeeze in if you want.
Okay. To drink or not to drink bone broth. This is from Eliza. Dear Dr. Hoffman and Leyla, I know you're not big fans of Dr. Google, but what about Dr. YouTube? A friend of mine sent me a link to a short video below about bone broth. Is it good for gut health? Ask Dr. Gundry.
Okay, that's another.
Yes.
There's Dr. YouTube and Dr. Google, and there's Dr. Gundry.
Exactly.
And Dr. Gundry has written a book called The Plant Paradox, which is kind of
very
thought-provoking. But I found that there was a more nuanced discussion of it in Georgia. What's her name?
Georgia Eads.
Georgia Eads' new book.
Which I'm all over, by the way.
Which I gave you. And,
which is fantastic.
I don't give you all the books that I review because, you've got enough to, cope with. But I said, this is one you really should take a look at. And you enjoyed that book.
I'm still
I interviewed her. I wrote a review of her book. And it's really interesting because she, in a more nuanced way, discusses some of the potential downsides of excess of some of the compounds in plants.
Right.
So, anyway.
Yeah, the anti-nutrients.
But Gundry,
and things like
here's Gundry, I think, is very eccentric. And I recently read an interview with him where he took the position that smoking really isn't harmful. That what causes these cancers in smokers is the diets of the people who smoke. And that in places where they smoke up a storm, like in the mountains, I don't know, like in the mountains of Georgia or, not Georgia in the United States, but like the Caucasus in Russia, where they, all these guys are like, they're 95 and they're rolling their own tobacco and they're smoking it, that they're fine.
Because all that yogurt they ate all their lives.
Yeah, it's the yogurt and
probiotics,
lots of vegetables and a hearty lifestyle. And I can't take that position. I think smoking...
It's still toxic exposure.
Gelatin. It's smoking, burning plant material. And
cadmium and all that stuff.
So anyway, so he says that there's a lot of...
lead and arsenic in bone broth.
I think that's less the case now because it used to be that animals grazed near highways where there were cars whizzing by using leaded gasoline. Mm-hmm. Leaded gasoline's been outlawed since the 60s.
Yeah.
And
we saw lead levels go down in children.
Yes. And
during the 70s and 80s.
I think that's less of a problem in livestock. It used to be a popular supplement instead of calcium was bone meal.
Yeah.
And bone meal was a culprit in terms of lead and so on. But, guess what? I think some of the manufacturers, the more responsible manufacturers of collagen drinks and bone broth, they actually assay for toxics, for arsenic, lead, cadmium, what have you. Right. And I think that they meet the threshold of relatively low. Look, it's ubiquitous in the environment. It has been unleashed in the environment all over the globe. So there's going to be some residual levels. But, is it, I don't know. I think he's a guy who sort of thrives on this concept of, man bites dog, like the paradoxical thing, like the plants that you think are so healthy for you can be dangerous. And bone broth, you thought that was healthy for you? Well, you're deluding yourself because you're getting toxins. It's like, and he's all over the media, and he is a lot about clicks, right?
True. I see that a lot. Yeah.
And there's nothing that gets clicks more than a scare story.
Sure.
And, I was listening to that and I said, I really should up my game on social media because I don't post enough scare stories, and like lurid headlines and, like yellow journalism kind of stuff. And that's why I just am not soaring to the top of the charts.
Don't go there.
I know.
Don't go.
I know.
It's called integrity.
Right. But I want those clicks.
Exactly.
It's very gratifying.
Oh,
it's like, I want,
somewhere where the Society for Good Thinking may come and inquire.
It's like a dopamine rush to get a lot of likes.
God.
It's like, I want that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Reminder to all of you, questions@drhoffman.net. That's questions@drhoffman.net. And we welcome all of your questions and comments. We appreciate them.
Don't forget to shop via drhoffman.com. If you go to drhoffman.com, there's a place where you can click on, it's a shop, and it takes you to a drop-down menu. And you can access supplements via Fullscript, which is our online dispensary. And if I can find it, I can find the link. I always, it's drhoffman.com/the store, I believe it is. Yeah, it's...
and go to the store. You could go to drhoffman.com and you can click on the store. It's a drop-down menu.
I'm looking at it.
Or maybe under shop as well. Because there's the area that says read, where you could read all the newsletter articles and other articles on the website.
drhoffmanstore.com.
drhoffmanstore.com.
drhoffmanstore.com is the place to go. We talk about supplements and, some of them are kind of hard to find, and you also want a safe and reliable place to obtain your supplements from. That's where I get my supplements. That's where you get your supplements.
Yes.
That's where patients get their supplements, and you have access to it via this podcast. Just go to drhoffmanstore.com for supplements. Thanks for listening. Have yourselves a great week. Thank you, Leyla.
Thanks, Dr. Hoffman.
I'm Dr. Robert Hoffman, and this is the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app, and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything Intelligent Medicine has to offer, including frequently updated, unbiased health news and fully vetted product and supplement recommendations.
This is Leyla Muden, registered dietitian nutritionist. I maintain a private practice and see patients regularly. If you require a nutrition consult with me but live out of town, there's no need to travel to New York City. I have telephone and telehealth consultations with clients from all over the country. Please visit drhoffman.com for more information. And to set up an appointment, call 212-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. I look forward to being a collaborator in your healthcare.